Let me introduce our next speaker, Jarosław Stańczyk. Jarosław graduated the Wroclaw University of Science and Technology. He holds a Ph.D. in computer science. He worked for many years as a C programmer, mainly for embedded systems. Passionate about computer science and robotics, particularly interested in machine emotions and human-machine relationships, free software enthusiast. Jarosław Stańczyk and his What's New and What's Changed in C23 speech. Big applause for him.
Hello, welcome everybody. So let's start. What's new and what's changed in C23? Actually hard to say, it will be for sure 23 because ISO committee should take place next month. And if they decide next month, then it will be C23. If in January, then it will be 24. But the norm is ready, actually. Yeah. What it will be present here? The presentation is prepared based on the latest standard draft, because on the ISO page, there is still available C 2018. When the C23 appears, when it will be decide that it's ready, then appears a new version. So then you can buy a new version. But the standard draft is free available, so you can find it on the internet. What will be presented? First, features that will be removed or depreciate and not recommend for use in your new programs, your new projects. Of course, after then, also the new functionalities, which will be introduced in the C language. And finally, maybe not finally, but the focus will be also not only for language itself, but also for the standard libraries. As was introduced, here I'm actually from Wrocław, and I did the book about C, which unfortunately was published in Polish only. And there is a modern C review with C23, of C23 with examples, but emphasis is not about review, but about C23 and examples. If somebody is interested, then here is the link, of course. The agenda of my speech: first introduction, then, as I said, it will be presented the changes in the language and in standard library, and finally, 5 minutes, as far as I know, the Q&A session. Of course, if you will have a question during my speech, just please show me and I will try answer when we are on this slide which you are interested. Okay, it's also possible. Okay? Let's start. Why the C is so popular? There is a very different point of view why the C language is so popular. One of them is here. But actually, maybe we try to focus from the language point of view. C language is quite small language, quite simple. And as you can see here, the version 23 includes only 54 keywords and not so big set of operators, which are in 14 or 15 levels of prioritized in 14 or 50 levels, and include also some small set of basic data types. Other point of view why it's so popular is a relatively low-level nature of this language. So the programmer have strong control over the program's operation, what allows him to do their program effective, even on very limited equipment. Of course, other reason is that it's wide available, from the large multiprocessor supercomputers to very small embedded devices. And this language have one, hard to say, it's drawback or it's not a drawback, that all instructions which are close connected with the hardware are removed from the language and goes to the libraries. It's, for example, input-output instructions, memory management, and so on and so on. Most of them are available via C standard library. This is also the reason of popularity. From other point of view, TOBE index shows how many engineers in the CVs have knows this language, or how many companies shows that have ability to do something in this language. So the C here is at the end. I don't know if it can show or not. Anyway, at the end, there is the quite last time. And the first point now has Python, and C is the second one. As you can see, many years the Java was king. Now the Java period is done. Actually, the Python now starts to be the king and to be the most used by engineers, of course. It's not an index which projects use the massive C or this code, not. It's only how many engineers use it. Okay, let's start today's topic. First, C23, old stuff. What is removed from the language? From the language, first of all, old style function in declaration and definition are removed. In the next slide, I show the example. Also tree graphs and some minor fixes for string processing are changed. Let's show maybe this old style functions. If you learn this language from the very beginning, that was introduced the Kernighan and Ricci style function, in which the parameters was arguments and type declaration was provided separately. In C23 is forbidden, so it was removed from the language. Until C23, this kind of definition declaration was possible. Other stuff which is removed from the C language is tree graphs. Tree graphs with 3-character set, and in C we also have the D graphs, 2-character sets, sequence that are archaic today. They was introduced for computer system that use 7-bit ASCII encoding, and because of that, do not contain all characters which was used in C syntax. So in C23, the tree graphs, which is in the table on the first row, are removed. Actually, I don't know, only tree graphs, and D graphs remain. So hard to say. Yeah. But for enthusiasts of this code, as you can see, this is an example here, and it's valid C code using tree graphs. And what means you can see in the next line. And for the fun of this kind of coding, in Germany is a special conquest. You can start there, and here's the link. The winner is which the code is completely not readable, but do something. And if you look at this page, there's very, very interesting examples. Anyway, tree graphs are removed. D graphs remains. As I said here, as I show here, the tree graphs was introduced from very beginning, probably because I didn't find where, in which time exactly it goes to the C. D graphs goes to the C in C95. What is removed from the standard library? Actually, this is only some cosmetic changed, because it's not exactly removed. It's removed from standard libraries, but mostly it's moved from standard libraries to keywords. Like in this first example from assert k, h, one macro statics asserts, which was introduced in C11, now becomes keyword, but still might be must be a predefined macro. But it's for sure you don't need include in your code assert h. From stb bool, the three macros bool, false, and true, introduced in C99, becoming keywords. I don't know why the whole std bool h was not removed, because in this header files remain only one macro, which is obsolete in C23. Don't idea why they don't remove at all this header. So anyway, from std def, two macros, alignas and alignof is defined, are removed because alignas and alignof now are the keywords, so always available. So you don't need to check that are defined or not. From std lib, the support of realloc with the this tricky size, 0 size. Now it's removed, was depreciated, and if you will use it, there will be error. Previously, since C17, the behavior was undefined. Yeah, from trees, one macro becomes keyword. What's in C23 is considered obsolete, and still usage of that is possible, but is not recommended. In preprocessor for math freaks, two macros are removed. Instead of that comes three different macros. I will show them the three new one in one of the next slides. From float h, macro decimal digs, introduced in C99, should be instead used one of these three, because there was decimal dig and was not exactly sure for which float, from which float number is used for float, from double or from long double. So now we have three different for exactly this type. Some part of macros from math, infinity, not a numbers, was moved from math to float. Next part, also not recommended. In std atomic h, since C11, we had one macro and one function. We did the same thing. So now the macro is not recommended to use, and only the function is the right way. As I said, in std bool remains one macro in this header, which is obsolete now. In std no return h, the entire header file is removed, and the function specifier not return, which means that we don't go back from this function, so replace it, but the attribute not return, which looks in the same way like in the C++ now. The quite funny situation is in the time header, where the two function begins with char ASCII time or char C-time functions are replaced by new function introduced in C11, but actually this function which is recommended to use are not in standard libraries. They're only in standard libraries when implementation defines extension of this library, and additionally when the user explicitly tell that want to use this extension before inclusion of time header. So the function is not recommended to use, but we don't have anything to replace it if the extension is not available on our hardware. How it looks, what's new in the C23. Here in the red color, you can see new keywords, which comes to C23. But actually, as I said before, a lot of them was in the C before, but in standard library, now they become keywords. But of course, we have also a few new ones, which will be on the next slides. Any questions to this part, maybe? Not yet. I hope you don't sleep yet. Okay. What is new in C23? First, focus on types. We have new types, new decimal floating point types. It's decimal 32, decimal 64, and decimal 128. Which are different from the float, double, long double. They differ. The difference is the base, how they are calculated. The float table and long table, the base is 2. In this decimal, the base is 10. And the types are available only if this macro is defined by your implementation. Next new types are bit precise as integer, which you can write down how many bits this type should use. The precision of this type in bits is cannot be greater than this macro. This macro means bit int max width. For bool operation, which now become keyword, there is also more convenient operations, and appears new type, null pointer type, so we can use it, for example, with constant null pointer in similar way like in C++. New constants in C23. After many years of the programmers in C obtain possibility to use binary numbers. So it was unbelievable that so many years we had to have our own stafford function or libraries to operate on binary numbers. So now we have a support from the language. So there was, since the beginning, hexadecimal numbers or octal numbers or decimal numbers were available, but binary comes right now. Additionally, we can specify by U8 that character contains content is in UTF-8, like here. And also, as a C23 novelty, is a digit separator. But of course, you can love it or hate it, but the dot and the comma was occupied, so they need to introduce something new. It's not solve an issue, not solve the problem, but we had a separator, yeah, okay. So it looks like 1000 here, or we can use it in hex. And the place is whatever you like, because it's removed if the number is calculated. Okay. But for Polish, the same like for English, looks quite tricky. Novelty continuation. There appear new storage class specify const expression, which we specify some expression on the compilation stage. I forgot to tell that if you would like to see the example with this old novelty or the old stuff and so on, so you can just grab my book and there is a lot of examples, okay? Of course, the examples, as usual, I had to choose. It should be sophisticated or very easy, and usually it was the easy or maybe not very, but usually the examples are easy. Okay, let's go further. Attribute appears in the C in the same way like in C++11. So now we have 2, 4, 6, 8 new attributes in C, depreciated, not returned, and so on. You can use this attribute in the way as you can see in line number 1, or you can use with a dash dash, like in number 2. Additionally, in C23, you can use unnamed parameters in the function. As you can see in number 1 and number 2, this is declaration and definition of the function. And in declaration, you don't need to put the name of the attributes, name of the parameters, and it was possible before C23. But if your definition looks like line number 3, then it generates error until C23, but it's okay since C23. It is only used for these parameters which are not used in the body of the function, of course. The rest on this slide, this is actually some cosmetics. The single argument static asserts. Before we had to add not only the part which assert is checked, but also there was second argument, the error information and warning information which was present if this part which was checking by asserts was wrong. Now you don't need it, and there appears only error about assertion error and line. Appears also some new preprocessor directives. 2 of them was just lax before, and 2 are a new one. The warning directive means that if compiler comes to this line when this warning is defined and show it on our compilation console. And it was introduced in many compilator, but as an extension. And the last one is embed. So now you can embed to your compiled code other code, binary. Usually binary, it could be icons, pictures, and so on. And you, during compilation, obtain this embed part into, it will be compiled in your code. For mathematics freaks, we had 2 pragmas which can be used to determine routing direction if you are using floating point operations. And additionally, there is a set of macros to check the existence of optionally available functions. We have one empty initializer, which we can use to initialize the whole structure or whole variable with the zeros. And for the next one, label follows by declaration. It's using only for this one, which prefer using the goto. As we know, there's two different approaches in programmers for this one, which use goto, and this one for don't like use it. So for this one who use goto, we have now possibility to put the labels in the new places. And finally, new keywords, but actually we were talking about a few slides earlier about that. So in standard library also appears two new headers. One is std bit header, which collects a set of functions to operate on bits. And maybe because these bits now are possible to do. And the second header, an std ck int h, contains set of function in which we can use integer operation, and we have control, for example, to when we are using integer multiplication to check that we don't go so far, we are not under the boundary and so on. Additionally, in C23, library versions will be introduced. In this draft, only for this header, which I present here, I don't know why the draft don't put it for all headers which are in standard libraries. Maybe on the final version it will be available for all headers from standard libraries, but at least for this one, which are presented here, we will have a version. But the version don't looks like version 1 or 2 or 3.11. It looks that we only have that is C23. It means the number, the date when the 23 was introduced. Or it will be, I don't know, if appears 25, then it will be the date when 25 was applied. So then we will know that the headers, in the headers, the function are compatible with C23 or C25, it appears. In image H, several new macros about defining type width have been added. Also in math, a set of function operation on decimal floating points have been added. Mostly the same like for floating points, binary function. In std_int, several new macros defining the width of the types defining in this header have been added. In std_io, mainly for families of fscanf and fprintf, there will be some extensions for this function, mostly for the modifiers for the new types which are now available. And of course, now you can print directly your binary binary numbers in binary view using the B conversion specifier. In string function, in string header, few new function from POSIX comes to the headers and now become a C library functions also. And finally, there is a bit extended support for UTF-8, and in time age, a small set of new functions appears. And actually, this is all what C23 have in the new norm. So, any questions? Yeah.
Do we have any questions? Please raise your hand if you have any.
Should be so. Yeah, please. I don't hear you.
And now?
Yes.
Okay. So is there any embedded compilers that already implemented this C23 standard?
Now?
Now, at the moment.
Yes, most of the introduced things are available just right now in GCC or in C-Lang, but not everything. But for example, in my book, I was using some special libraries. For example, if something was not available in GCC and C-Lang, but most of the things which will be introduced in C23 are just now available. You need only to add some specifier, some switch during compilation, and will be available. Thank you. It's okay?
Do you have more questions to Jarosław?
Yes.
Hello. Could you elaborate a little bit more on this labels novelty that you mentioned a few slides before?
Yes, here.
Yes.
Sure. But I don't have any example here to present it, because I don't have on the slides. We just have possibility to, as I said, put the labels just before, just after the declaration. And as far as I remember, also before. But, well, you just can send me an email, I will answer you with example. Yeah.
Okay, and here we have...
Sorry.
Hi, so I'm wondering if there are any limitations for constant expressions in C. For example, can we allocate a memory there or...
In constant expressions?
Yes.
For sure, there are some limitation. One of the big one is that this expression must be calculated during the compilation. So you don't have possibility to do this during runtime. It's the one which I remember. For the size, of course, also, but hard to say now, okay? I will need to check.
Okay, thank you.
Remember that you can always approach our speakers during the break and ask them questions directly.
Sure.
Yes,
sure.
they will be more than happy to help you. Okay, we have one question there at the end, I think. No? No, okay. Okay. Do we have more questions? Last chance to raise your hand. Okay,
Oh, yes,
here.
we have here.
Okay, hello. I have a question about the decimal AK float type. Is there any advantages of using it, maybe in the precision or the common problem like 0.1 plus 0.3? And it's not always equal to 0.4 in case of some implementation because of the bit length. And how can we present this numerical number using only bits?
If we go to this, here, this is a new decimal floating point. When I was writing the example to the book, there was mostly the disadvantage. It means the GCC and C-Lang can use it, but standard library don't support the print these numbers since now. So finally, I had to convert it to normal floating points. numbers. But for sure, the advantage, maybe there is a bit different boundary in which you can use it. And for sure, you know how many bits it's occupied. So it's 32, 64, and 128.
Okay, so in fact, it doesn't solve the problem of representing the...
In calculation, I don't saw any problems using it, but of course, I am not. I don't use it for mathematical problems, for mathematical issues. So it's hard to say because I didn't check how it works during roundings and on the end of the set in which the numbers are. So hard to say. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
For normal calculation was okay.
Okay, big applause.